It's time to mind your business with me, Jamillah Lodge. Tune in to find out how to mind your business with BEDC, special guest entrepreneurs, industry experts, and more. Brought to you by BEDC. Bermuda business starts here. So welcome to Mind Your Business.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. I'm Jamillah Lodge, and I'm so pleased to have you here, Tiara Wilson-Outerbridge, and founder of Crown Point Ltd. Mm-hmm. So before we get started, though, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am a wife and mother of 3 beautiful little girls. Oh. I've been in hospitality almost all my life, starting working from very, very young. And I started my career off actually in the jewelry industry.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's been a complete transition from there to here, but here I am.
Yes, okay. Well, I'm glad you're here. So just share with us the story behind Crown Point. Okay. Like, what made you decide to start this?
All right. So I think Crown Point kind of chose me. My parents, they were in the industry first. Mm-hmm. They rented out their main home to visitors, and they had friends who had comparable size houses, mm-hmm. and their families were growing up and out of the house, and they wanted to get involved as well. But my parents were so busy. They were like, maybe Tiara can help you. She's mm-hmm. good with computers. Mm-hmm. You know, back then it was, she's good with computers, right? Yeah. So somebody approached me. They approached me, and I said, sure, I'll help you, mm-hmm. figure it out. And so said, so done. And from there, it grew into word of mouth, mm-hmm. and other people wanted to get involved. And they said, oh, work with Tiara. She can help you. She can help you. But then I realized that people were still so busy with mm-hmm. their schedules day to day, right? Mm-hmm. So they needed further assistance when it came to guest communication. So they were like, listen, can you answer these emails? Because I'm getting so many or whatnot. And then maybe we can work out a little something. And I was like, okay, fine. And from there, it grew.
So let's just say what Crown Point is, because I know, right? Because I know you. We've had other conversations. But mm-hmm. Talk about Crown Point. What is it?
Okay, so Crown Point it started as a luxury vacation home concierge, because mm-hmm. at the time when it did start, I was dealing with homeowners that had really large homes, mm-hmm. right? And so I was like, these large homes come with people that require a certain level of service. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to be able to give that to them. Mm-hmm. So birthed Crown Point, mm-hmm. luxury vacation home concierge, and it has evolved so much since then.
Really? Yeah. Okay, talk about it. Like, what is it involved? So it started out you just mm-hmm. being concierge. Now what is mm-hmm. it?
So, of course, when you have other homeowners who want to sign on with you, you have that management side of things. Mm-hmm. Homeowners are like, listen, I'm too busy to deal with the day-to-day. Can you take it on? And so birth full management, mm-hmm, right? Mm-hmm. And so I was operating the full management services to our homeowner. So, there's assistance services to help them along the way. And I was also offering services to their guests.
Okay.
But then in 2020, of course, things mm-hmm. went upside down and whatnot. And it gave me a time to really pause and reflect and really realize what I needed to do for the business. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And so in 2022, that's when I decided, you know what, I need to organize the business so that the 2 services can function properly how they need to function.
Right.
And so I spent the last 2 years organizing myself, and so Exclusive Island Rentals mm-hmm. came about. And Exclusive Island Rentals is our sister company, and they hold all the full management side of things. So we have a team that assists us in managing these homes. It's dedicated to support the homeowners in the industry. Mm-hmm. And then now, for 2025, we're rolling out a whole new version of what Crown Point will look like, getting back to the origin mm-hmm. of why it started, mm-hmm. Incorporating back into the mix of things, the homemade hospitality that was once created, you know, and yeah.
So talk to me a little bit more about homemade hospitality. What do you mean when you say that?
Okay, so when you think of something that's like homemade, you know, you're thinking about love, you know,
Sweet potato pies and 7-Up cakes. Peach cobbler, that's what I think.
Your mom, your aunt, your dad, somebody just in the kitchen, in the home, just homemaking. You know, even if somebody just makes you a quilt, you know, it's just somebody there considering you, thinking about you, and they often give it to you as a surprise, like, oh, look, I made this for you, or I did this for you. So that's what we at Crown Point do for not just our guests, but for our homeowners as well. You know, it's just like, let me help you. Let me be that extra helping hand. Let me just go over and beyond for you, you know, because you're putting yourself out there. You're so busy. You're doing so much. And everybody needs that support, that help, that love.
Yes,
you know?
yes. I love that.
Thanks.
So you mentioned earlier that the business kind of grew organically from word of mouth. How do you maintain the existing relationships that you have, and how do you curate new relationships? Like now, how do you do it? Is it still word of mouth, or do you have like a full-on campaign? How do people find out about you?
So it is still word of mouth. Sometimes, you know, sometimes we do source homeowners that we feel may need a little bit of assistance, because anybody in the industry knows that this is a lot of work. Yeah. Right? Yeah. But we are still a small, tight-knit community within the industry. So there's homeowners who we lean on each other, you know, so those homeowners who we've made connections with over the years, we're like, you know what, here, you need some help with this, XYZ, and then it fosters into developing this relationship where they end up saying, you know what, I need you more. Yeah. you know? Yeah. And a lot of times it still is the word of mouth. You know, some people who've been with us for years, you know, they're like, oh, if you want to get in the industry, talk to this person. Yeah. You know, and sometimes it's neighbors, because Bermuda, because our homes are so close to each other, right? They'll see us showing up at a vacation home, and somebody next door, they'll be keeping their eyes on us, you know, and then they'll be like, oh, I see you at this house often, you know, and I want to do this, you know, so they'll stop us in the street when we're pulling out of the gate and stuff, and that's how it goes.
I mean, I love that, because I think in Bermuda, word of mouth really does still work, and especially in your field, because it is exclusive. You know, there's a specific clientele that have the types of homes and everything that you provide concierge services for. So I would imagine it's easier, right? Because like you said, they see you, they're looking over there, they're like, hey, what's she doing? Can you do it for me too, please?
Yeah, we had a phone call, and I love it because it does breed a sense of community as well, because they look out for us too. You know, I got a phone call a couple of weeks ago where a homeowner who isn't a client of ours, they called us and they were like, oh, we saw somebody pop down the house and da-da-da, and they're like, and we were like, oh, okay, you know,
so you can
raises awareness for us to be like, okay, well, maybe you need some cameras, you know?
Right. Yeah. Okay, I love that. They looking out too. They was like, Tiara, somebody at your house, and they do not have on Crown Point clothing. So how do you manage that relationship, like with your the homeowner? So how do you guys stay in touch with each other? Do they just call you all the time, or do you have tools that allow them to keep in touch with you and let you know what they need?
Right. So when it comes to maintaining that relationship with our homeowners, we touch base often. Okay. You know, it's definitely kind of like a co-working relationship where we keep them involved. We talk to them. We're reaching out all the time. It's very personal. You know, sometimes our homeowners, they they just need somebody to talk to,
Really?
Yeah, because they have things going on in their lives, whether it be celebrations, whether it be, just big changes, whether it be good or bad, and they need somebody there. So oftentimes they give us a call, and the conversation starts off with the house, but two hours later, it's something else, right?
Really? Okay.
It's something else, and they're family to me. A lot of our homeowners we've retained over a number of years, so they have become family. All of our wins feel like their wins. All of our life changes, they show up for us and we show up for them. I love it. I love
that you love it. So I have here that you have an online portal that you use for guests and homeowners. So do they utilize that to, I guess, speak with you, or that's more for them to engage with their guests and the homeowners?
Well,
talk a little bit more about
the online portal functions just for the homeowners at this time.
Okay.
This just allows the homeowners to stay professionally connected, so they can see the performance of their home, and that goes back to that organization that we were doing, right? So all of our homeowners who have full management contracts with us, they got a homeowner portal, so they're able to log in, they're able to see their calendar, how it's performing. They can view the reports online, they can communicate with our entire team if they can't reach me directly, but they need any assistance or they have any questions that need to be answered, they can just reach out to one of us directly, which makes it very seamless.
Yeah. Use the technology, honey.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
And that's big.
Yeah.
That's been big, really big lately, because Bermuda has always been in this vacation rental space.
Yes.
We've been doing it for years before the larger platforms like Airbnb and Vrbo came about. We've always opened up our homes to visitors, really giving them that Bermudian feel, that Bermudian hospitality, which is so unique, right? So to really just, bring that all full circle, and
use the portal for that communication, and I'm sure they appreciate it because they can actually see the work, right? Because it shows in the reports and everything that they get. So now you've been talking about this team, and in my mind, I'm like, you got this whole large workforce because you have to. Can you talk a little bit about the team? Because I would imagine it's really important for your team to understand what your expectations are when it comes to service and providing the level of service that you want people to associate with Crown Point, right? Which is what has allowed you to grow like this, right? Can you talk a little bit about the team, how you identify these people, how you curate them and make sure that they are upholding your cultural values?
Right. So it's taken a while to build a team, but I do have a fantastic team. It's about 11 of us.
Okay.
And they work in different capacities. But what's important in this industry is communication.
Okay.
Right? So we have property coordinators. We have some down the east and the west, and their job is to, once the housekeepers do what they have to do, they go in as a second set of eyes to just make sure all the little things are checked off, making sure the amenities are filled up, if making sure the light switches work, the light bulbs are working and whatnot. And they report back to us, and we either handle it ourselves with a maintenance team that we have. We work with locals to repair those things, or we reach right out to the homeowners who are in turn responsive as well.
Right.
And then we have our reservations managers. They're the ones who communicate with the guests, communicate all the information that they need when it comes to the reservation, to the home, as much detail as possible. And of course, our concierge coordinator. So once a reservation is made, that's when our concierge coordinator, she steps in, and they will communicate, transportation. Do you need pre-arrival groceries? And everything that we do is to enhance, and we go one step above. You can yes, we encourage you to employ other businesses for their services. You know, you can get grocery delivery from the many services that's out there. But the difference with Crown Point is that we will not only take it and deliver it to your home, we will pack it where it needs to go.
Right.
So when you get off of that plane and traveling is stressful, especially when you have kids, you know, you can go in the fridge and you can grab a cold beer. You don't have to wait half an hour for your
groceries to come.
For your groceries to come, or, you know, just start your vacation, you know. So.
I love that, because you don't think about it, but you're absolutely right. Like, only you have the key to the house, right? So, like, you can get groceries delivered, but you're not going to get in until you, as a guest, you actually arrive and let them in. But with your service, you set it up before they get there. So it's like they're just coming home. And everything's already there.
Exactly, home.
Yeah.
Yeah, you come home.
See, I got it. So I'm fascinated by this, in that I think you've like carved out this beautiful niche, right? Where you're taking services that are provided separately in Bermuda, but you're bringing it all under the umbrella of Crown Point. And it seems to me like you just did it. Like, you know what I mean? Like there was no like full on business plan and this is what we're gonna. It just seemed like it was very organic. You know what I mean? I remember when we first had our conversations way back when. I don't know how long ago that was. And so now to see you and how it's grown, and you're just talking about like, and then I just have 11 people, and then where you go, which I think is wonderful. And maybe it speaks to how you've been able to curate your team, right? Because that's one thing that I think people struggle with, is finding the right people, right? To be able to maintain that. And how did you do it? Like, where did you source these people from? Are they your family? What's going on? What's the secret?
Yeah, my team is amazing, you know, and it's a lot of word of mouth as well, right? So you have friends and family who support you, and you know, from that support, they're like, you know, maybe this person
would be good,
would be a good fit for you, or my mom or my dad isn't doing much right now, and they love this kind of stuff, and so I'm like, you know what, let's try it out, because when you're building something, you need help.
Yes.
When you're trying to really do something that's going to sustain itself for years to come, you need help, and you need good help. And it's been a lot of trial and error. You know, my team hasn't been the same team. It's looked a lot differently over the years, but you know, we have about 4 or 5 that's really just been there year after year, and what they do is, I feel like I work for them sometimes.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, I understand that.
they tell me, oh, don't forget this, or we need to do this, or I suggest this, and I'm like, that's what you're looking for. You know, people who show the initiative to think beyond what they're asked to do, you know, because it makes their life easier. And the way that I guess, show my gratitude is by giving them the tools that they need to excel. You know, they set their own schedules. You know, they have access to that same portal where they're able to look at the calendar and they can do their thing. You know, as long as XYZ is done, we're happy.
Yeah, I love that. And that speaks to like your management style, right? Giving them the autonomy, like you said, giving them the tools, I think really does make a difference. So it's not just a job. Like they value, you know, working with you and being part of the team, and that you receive ideas and suggestions goes a long way, I think. I would agree 100%. So now, in terms of, like, you get the groceries, you buy the food, it's set up for them. What about the attractions around Bermuda? Like, how do you build that into the experience?
Okay. So that, before, we used to curate itineraries.
Okay.
You know, we used to curate itineraries. We asked a lot of probing questions for guests who are coming down, especially guests with family. You know, giving them suggestions on what to do, the different things even within our community that we feel like they should immerse themselves in. You know, whether it be the Good Friday party that they have up at White Hill, you know, of course, Cop Match and all of those things. Even the smaller attractions nearby, the historical ones, the railway trail and the forts and whatnot. But now, since technology is incorporated into almost everything we do these days, we have digital guidebooks. So each home has a digital guidebook that kind of updates in real time, especially when the businesses update their information online. That's why it's so important for these businesses to make sure that they are updated.
Yes, please.
So what that looks like is we put together a package per neighborhood, depending on where your home is. We send a link out to the visitor. They click on the links, and it's so detailed. Like, it goes to restaurants, things to do, places nearby. So when it comes to seeing things around, we'll put the railway trail that links to a certain little map, you know, little videos online. We plug it into the digital guidebook. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot, but we're trying to just aim to make everything as seamless as possible when it comes to the visitors and our homeowners.
So what has the feedback been? Like, how do they respond to that level of service?
Good. You know, it's amazing.
Yeah.
They do say it's seamless, you know. Some people don't require it, you know, because the internet is the internet.
Right.
You know, some people do a lot of research.
Before they come,
are type A planners, you know. So the information we give them is like, girl, bye.
I already got my itinerary set, okay?
Yeah. But for those people who do need extra assistance, and we find that it's the ones who come with smaller families. You know, they need the extra assistance, finding things to do with their kids, you know, what to do, especially on rainy days and whatnot. So,
because when you got them kids, like, you can you just about get everything packed to get there. So having that extra...
and we think about them as well, like, when kids stay at one of our homes, we give them a kid-friendly book by a local author.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so recently we've had a collection of the young lady who has like that pop-up book for the aquarium. Yeah, because oftentimes kids, they come and they're not going to remember Bermuda, especially the small little babies. So we're like, you know what, take this with you. So when they get 3-4 years old, they're going to be like, I went to Bermuda. I went to Bermuda and this is what I did. This is where I went, you know. So
that's a great idea, because you're right. Like, you take your kids places and you're like, oh yeah, we've been there, and they don't know. They're like, what are you talking about? You're like, see, I'm staying home. No, but that little touch, I think, is huge. You know what I mean? So it may not be a big deal to you because you do it all the time, but to the person who's on the receiving end, it's like, oh my God, you thought about me and you thought about my children. Yeah. And those little details, I think, really does help to differentiate what you do from everybody else. Now, let's talk about trends, right? Because you've been doing this for how long now?
Almost 10 years.
Really?
10 years. Almost 10 years.
So you know all the things. So what?
I would like to say that, but every day it changes, and every day I'm learning something new, and you know, I try to improve. Whether it be from a homeowner, you know, we've had some homeowners, you know, on with us, and it not work, you know, and we're like, you know what? How do we take this and learn from it? Right. You know, do we enhance our services to make sure that, you know, we meet other homeowners who have these same needs, or is this a one-off, and are we doing things the right way? And is this this just wasn't a homeowner that fits.
Right.
You know, so.
And that's a hard conversation, I think, to have with yourself, right? Because you're like, I'm great. I don't know what's wrong with you, but I'm great. But to be able to receive that and then analyze it and say, do we have to adjust how we do business? Or do we need to be more selective with who we take on as clients?
Correct.
So let's talk a little bit about that. so the idea is that, everybody can come. But is there like an application process that you go through? Like, how do you determine if what you're providing is going to be right for the homeowner or the guest?
So going back to relationships,
Yeah.
right? Every homeowner, whether they have a home that fits with us or they fit with us themselves, we always make sure that we maintain that relationship, because that's what's important. That's what breeds family, that's what breeds togetherness, that's what breeds support. Because if that homeowner doesn't necessarily fit with us, they may know a homeowner that does. Right. So in getting back to your question, over the years, I have developed relationships with international experts as well in the industry. And they give me so much counsel. And so one of them said, when we're doing business, we have to place people in boxes. You have good home, bad homeowner, and bad, I'm using for lack of a better word. And then you have bad home, good homeowner. Then you have bad homeowner, and then you have good homeowner. So whenever we meet somebody new, we do place people in those boxes. You know what I mean? And a lot of times, what we see tends to work the best is, a home that's not the best, but they have this amazing homeowner that's just willing to do whatever they can to improve their home, improve their product, and a lot of our homeowners are like that, so that plays within our decision-making process.
Yeah, and I think it's important. I know in conversations and different courses that we offer, we talk about like the ideal customer and who that is, and it's okay to say that not everybody is your ideal customer, right? Because if you're not going to be able to provide that level of service that you want to this person, then sometimes you have to say, no, we aren't the right fit, right? It's better for you as well as for the client, because they're like, I'm not getting what I want. And so maybe it isn't the right fit. But I think that is very astute business practice to have to do that, because sometimes you create this business and it's your baby, and so you're like, don't talk about my baby, right? Because I'm gonna fight you for that. But being able to receive that criticism, digest it, take what you need, and leave the rest, I think is very, very astute.
And that saying, it's not personal, it's business. It's a real thing.
It sure is.
It's a real thing. And you're right, before I used to take a lot of things personal. When I'll lose a homeowner or somebody would give me advice, then I'm just like, I've
been doing this for.
But now I realize that, this isn't my personal brand. This isn't something where it's just me. This is something that I want to continue to create to give others a platform to be able to, showcase their talents, to put food on their table, So this is bigger than me.
I love that. So now if people are interested in linking up with Crown Point, either from a homeowner perspective, or they're like, oh, we can get this level of service in Bermuda and they're guests, what is the best way for them to do that?
They can reach out to us. They can find us online. They can reach out to us via email.
Let me ask you this. So the homes that you manage, are they just for guests that are coming into Bermuda, or can someone say, I want to have a fabulous 50th birthday party and I need a space that can accommodate, I'm going to do this overnight thing or whatever. So is that part of your offering? Like, can people do that? Does it matter what they need to rent the home for?
The communication needs to be there.
Okay.
Because not all of our homes
are
will
available
allow
like that.
something
Right.
like that, but we
Okay.
do have a select few homes that don't mind you hosting some sort of event
Right.
or gathering there for the weekend, you know.
Okay.
But not all of our homes, because some of our homes are still private homes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Just trying to figure out, because some people, especially in Bermuda, they like to do it big, right? So it's like if instead of going away and doing something,
They
maybe
have
I can have a staycation here.
Yeah. We welcome staycations.
Yeah.
It just when it gets to the events
Right.
side of things,
Yeah.
that's when you have to open up those lines of communication,
To say-
because you might want one house and
Yeah.
it's just like, well, we have a better fit for you,
Right.
and you probably didn't even know about that house,
Right.
so.
Right. And do you list all of your available properties online, or
Yeah.
is that okay? All right. Cool. So my last question for you: what does a perfect stay look like at Crown Point, and how do you define success for each guest experience?
Oh, that's a tough question because every guest is unique. They have different needs. So a perfect stay would be, number one, you feel like your needs are met. You have everything that you need. Your expectations are exceeded. You feel at home. You feel like you've received a level of service that makes you want to rebook. A perfect stay means that you say to me, you're rebooking next year.
I love
period.
I love that. Exactly, because that means all of those things were met, right? That you want to come back. I lied. I said that was my last question, but I'm going to ask another one. What, in your wildest dreams, what does Crown Point grow up to be?
Crown Point grows up to have international presence in niche islands. The small boutique, high-end luxury islands, taking this Bermudian hospitality that we have, that we're known for, international. It's, and just being present in different homes.
Okay. You're going to do it.
I am going to do it.
I know you're going to do it.
we are going to do it. I ain't going to say just me. We are going to do it.
I love it. I love it. Well,
do it.
let us know what we can do to help you make that vision a reality, because I think it is needed. I mean, you've been doing this for 10 years and you're doing it well, obviously.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, thank you, Tiara, for minding your business with me today. And remember, if you don't mind your business, who will?
Who will?
Thanks for tuning in to Mind Your Business with me, your host, Jamillah Lodge. Tune in next week, Thursday at 4 p.m. because if you don't mind your business, who will? Mind Your Business is brought to you by BEDC. Bermuda Business starts here.